Well, hey y'all, and welcome to Carowinds. Tonight's a little special night. I have a media pass, make sure it's turned right. We get to go get a sneak peek at the Brad Ross show. We get to go to the Palladium, find out how all that's going to work, and ask Brad Ross a few questions, and maybe ask PR, Carowinds, some questions about how everything's going to work as far as the concert series. So a lot of great information. I don't expect this to be a really long vlog, but a very informative vlog. So be sure to watch it all because there's a lot of great information. And with that, let's head on in the park.
So over here we have our fruit stand that will be at Myrtle Mixers. So you can get a choice of pineapple or watermelon, and you can top it with chamoy, tahini, salt, sugar, whatever you would like.
Nice. What do we have down here?
Over here, these are going to be our bacon lollipops. They're coming to Terminal A. We are actually hand making these platters here on property.
Oh wow! I like
They're
that.
the Terminal A Aeronautica logo.
So when it comes out, do we get to keep the platter?
No, unfortunately not.
It's worth asking.
Worth asking. This is our roasted corn on the cob. It is over at Brick Fixins with our turkey legs. We dip it in butter. You get some salt on there.
Okay, that sounds good.
So here we are reimagining what nachos look like over at Nacho Note.
Okay.
So we have a Korean pulled pork nacho as well as a chicken teriyaki. They come with Asian slaw, pickled cucumbers, a pineapple pico, some edamame, some fried wonton chips.
Wow, that sounds good.
Yes. Now over here we have our little more kid-friendly desserts. This is a confetti cookie sandwich as well as a monster cookie sandwich.
Okay.
Over here are some of our grab-and-go items within the park. And back there you'll see our peach cobbler cupcake.
Peach cobbler cupcake.
Peach cobbler cupcake.
Oh wow.
And then over here, our seasonal funnel cake for summertime is our pineapple right side up funnel cake that you can find at Funnel Cake Emporium.
This is some good offerings this year. So now we have been seated and waiting on the show, and I was told we can't record during the show, but before and after, and there will be a Q&A, and maybe a couple other things we can look at. But right here, you're looking at the stage setup for this year's show. And something else I noticed that is different from last year. They had these screens set up on either side of the stage here, where you can see part of the cast, where you can follow him. I've seen some trivia up there just a while ago. All kinds of different things going on up here. So right before the show starts, they do have things going on the screens that you might want to pay attention to.
So much for coming out to see our first preview. We'll be picking these out overnight tonight. Yeah, I'm ready for you guys. What do you got for me?
Hi, Brad.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's good to see you in person instead of on your channels.
Yeah, thank you. So great new tricks. We really enjoyed that. And I know you talked about your past inspirations. So you obviously have new tricks that you haven't done before. So do you have any more like modern or current inspirations that you can tell us about?
Yeah, you know, we're always looking for inspiration everywhere when we go to do our show again. Specifically coming back here to Carowinds for a second residency, we wanted to bring back the favorites that people love and then swap out some different things. The warrior section of the show that we presented with the mystery box was something that I remember seeing magicians like David Copperfield and Siegfried and Roy do when I was growing up. And funny enough, 20 years ago this summer was when I started doing theme parks. And I got to perform that illusion, that original theme park season at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey. Being this is my 20th year as an illusionist, I wanted to bring that back into the show. So not so much of an external inspiration, but more as kind of to keep tied to my roots and remembering the magic I felt the first time I got to do that trick.
Along the lines of inspiration, I was actually at Lake George Expedition Park, the old Magic Forest.
Jimmy Brown!
I met and talked to Jimmy Brown. And so that I was there on Sunday, and we got to talking, and then I told him I was going to be at Carowinds.
Yeah.
You mentioned your name and that you're friends.
Yep.
So I was wondering about any other friends or inspiration that you have.
Yeah, he told me, he actually called me the other day and he said, hey, there's a guy coming out. This guy's very New York. And he's like, I mean, as New York and New Jersey as you can get, accent and everything. And he said, there's a guy coming to see you. He was at my show and he's coming to see your big show. And I said, well, I can't wait to meet him. But it's funny, the magic community is a very tight-knit group. And what's really cool is that, Jimmy just celebrated his 78th birthday. And he's been a friend of mine for so many years. And that's the really cool thing about magic, whether it's magicians working together, crossing generational lines. I've been friends with Jimmy for 20 years. Or it's having kids in the audience, seniors in the audience, teenagers, families. That's the cool part about magic, whether you're presenting it and performing it, or you are working on it for audiences. It's kind of allowing the generations to come together and learn from the older guys that have been there for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And then also, in return, I know he always says to me, it's great to see what the younger guys are doing and the updates to things. And that's very much the theme of our show, obviously, with the old magician kind of wanting to stay stuck in the past, and my more modern, very casual, more youthful approach, but they do work together. And I think that's so much of what we have as a society today. I mean, all of the crazy technology that we have now with AI and just how fast time is changing. But we have to look back to the things that root us in who we are. We are still human beings at the end of the day. We still connect. Simple things like kindness, it goes so far and such a long way, even in a world where we're so crazy and so fast-paced. So magic is kind of just a little microcosm of what the world is at large, but in terms of it's really that generational connect, and I think that's a really cool thing that we get to have.
Do you distinguish between a magician and an illusionist?
Good question. When you call yourself an illusionist, you get paid 20% more. Actually, we are all magicians. In magic, what I do is I specialize in grand illusions, in the stage style magic. But there are other magicians who specialize in close-up magic, card magic, coin magic. There's another division that does what we call manipulation, where they're making birds appear in their hands and silk scarves everywhere. So there's lots of different areas. I just grew up wanting to perform on stage, and even when I was doing birthday parties as a little kid, I used to imagine that someone's living room was my stage, but that's kind of the difference.
What's your favorite magic trick?
It's amazing. Amazing how you made your voice so deep. My favorite, my favorite magic, people always ask me that, and it's tough. I love performing our Firefly Levitation because it's a beautiful piece of magic, and it kind of brings in all of the senses. But the confetti trick that I do towards the end of the show, which ties in our message that magic is everywhere. You see magic here on stage, but it really is all around us. So performing that is definitely high in my top 3, but the levitation, our confetti piece, and then the elevator at the top of the show is also in my top 3.
On that same theme of illusions and magic, what was your hardest illusion to master?
That's good questions. The hardest to master, when I worked for Disney for about a decade, and when I toured with that show, we traveled all over the world, and we actually did a double levitation in that show, where not only did I levitate one of the princesses, but I also levitated myself, and that was a very complicated illusion to perform. It was also a little scary. I don't like heights, and I was levitating myself 10 feet in the air every single show, sometimes multiple times a day, which is why you don't see that in this show. It's a beautiful piece of magic as well, but that was a challenging one for sure. But that's kind of the thing about any of the magic we do, they're all challenging. If I pick up a piece of magic or a prop and it's too easy, there's something wrong. Either with the presentation or with the way we're staging it. But we go through a 2-week rehearsal process with a show that's already built like this. When we're building a show brand new, sometimes it could be longer. And each specific illusion has its own challenges because there's different nuances. It sometimes has to do with the cast members that are participating in it. Sometimes it's me, I need to learn something new, such as where I did the double levitation. But the key to it is having an incredible team of people that are surrounding us. And that's our crew, that's our production team that works on the show all year long before we even get on site. This year, for those of you that had seen the show previously, did you notice any of the new lighting changes that we made? Hopefully. I hope. We actually redid all of the lighting this year. And we have an incredible lighting designer, Eric, who's here with us in the back of the booth. Give Eric a nice big round of applause. We literally took everything and tore it all apart and rebuilt it all. But even just as an example, lighting is a challenge because you get a different person that's going to design it, and we're in a different space, or you're in the same space, but you have to reconfigure things. So there's always the challenge, but it's about surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you at the things that they are good at. And I am a big believer in being happy to admit I don't know it all. I need people supporting us and me and everything I do that know more than me about their areas. So that's a big hand for all of our crew, our cast, our technical team.
Yes, your stage crew. Are they chosen with each location that you perform at? And are you involved with choosing them?
Great question. It depends on what the situation is. So here at Carowinds, we bring a local stage crew from around the area that live here. When we do tour dates and we're doing city after city after city, see, here we have the luxury to take 2 weeks and train new crew members and teach them all about magic. And our technical director, who had to catch a flight to his next gig, he just left this morning, Sasha. He trains them and teaches them what they need to look out for when something goes wrong. Here's what you do, and you have 2 weeks to do that. Same thing with our cast members, who you guys will get to meet in a minute. But when we're on tour and we're going to a city tonight, we're in Charlotte, and then tomorrow night we're in Greensville, and the next night we might be in Atlanta. The show needs to set up like clockwork. So in those cases, we usually take a week to 2 weeks to bring on crew, our cast, do a rehearsal, do a process, and then that same crew will stay with us each city. When we do sit-downs, it's a little easier. We can bring in local people to do that.
So, that magic show. There's some new things in it this year. There are some new elements in it this year. So be sure, if you're here at Carowinds, to swing by and see the Brad Ross show. But now, we're on the way to the Palladium. Now, the Palladium hasn't been used in many years, and a lot of big names are coming there this year. So they're revamping it, reopening the Palladium. A lot of big names are going to be there, and we're on the way now to take a tour of us. Let's go.
I'm going to walk you through our guest experience. Then we're going to end up on stage so you all can see what our artists will see as well. The theater is massive. As a reminder, here the Palladium seats about 13,000 guests. About 7,000 of those seats are underneath the cover. About 7,000 are outside of the cover. Cool, those are important numbers to play with. We're going to talk through a few things as we walk around, and then we'll get on stage and chat about any questions you guys have, okay? Cool? Right this way. There's a dumpster. If you need a picture of a dumpster, that's available for you as well. We are building a small beer garden as well for a guest to experience during the concert series. So these tents, you might recognize them from Carnival. They're multi-use, that's why we like them so much. These tents will serve a barbecue sandwich as well as our drunken loaded waffle fries like you have at Terminal A. So a little bit more of an elevated experience at the beer garden. And then obviously, you can't have a beer garden without beer. So we're gonna walk over here into the shade a little bit. The shade coming from our beautiful giant pumpkin that will not be here for the concert series. Yes, that's true. Courtney brings up a great point. The pumpkin's holding the place for stroller parking. Yeah, exactly. It's a traffic cone. It's a giant traffic cone that you have to have a crane to move. This area, when our guests walk in, we will have our security booth for lost kids. That's where our security officers will be dispatched from as well in case there's any emergency or in case anyone needs any support. And then we will also have our stroller parking as well as wheelchair parking for those guests who are able to transfer from their mobile device to a seat. Cool. Down here a little bit further is where things are going to get real fun, okay? I'm going to give you all the inside scoop on how we are operating our concert series, okay? Get ready. Your minds are about to be blown.
And you guys will be the first ones to hear it. We're not going to release it until Monday.
Yes.
So you guys are definitely the
Get
first
ready.
ones.
Get ready to share with all your folks how a theme park operates. Like, I think they're going to be real excited about it. So, for the concert series, as you can tell, like I said, there are 13,000 seats inside of the Palladium. That is a lot of seats. We want to make sure that folks don't rush. We want to make sure that folks don't run. We want to make sure that folks, while they might want to get to a seat quickly, that they are safe about doing that. So, we have split the Palladium into 3 different sections, section A, B, and C. A is all the way at the bottom of the theater, B is the middle, and then C is all the way back here, these uncovered seats. So, starting at park open on concert days until 4 o'clock or supplies run out, we'll be giving guests wristbands to get to the bottom third of our Palladium seating. So those wristbands are going to be available at our Thrill Zone stage. So we have 2 in-park stages for our concert series. One's in Thrill Zone and then one's at the Thunder Road lawn. Both of those will have great artists throughout the weekends, but we'll send folks to Thrill Zone. They'll be able to collect that wristband from an associate, and then they'll be able to join us when gates open at 5 o'clock. Our gates for Palladium are slated to open at 5 o'clock, with most of our opening acts starting at 7 o'clock. And most, that's an important word, like that's italicized here, most of our headliners will start at 8:30. So those are the timelines for you. So 5 o'clock is when gates will open. The really fun thing about having a summer music festival is that the entire park is part of the party. So again, 2 stages, Thunder Road Lawn and Thrill Zone. Those performers will be there from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock, so you can enjoy their music, enjoy the park, right? That'll be really fun. And then gates for the Palladium will open at 5. We will not allow guests to line up before that. So once those gates open at 5, folks with wristbands, everyone will come this way, and I'll walk you through what happens. But they're going to go through the section A sign right here. Those with wristbands will head down, and those without will head to section 2 and 3 and find whatever seats they like. Cool, so we'll head that way. We can also show you where the restrooms are and where first aid is as well. So that's another important part from an operational standpoint. We want to give guests the layout of the entire land because the Palladium hasn't been utilized in this way in quite some time. So lots of folks learning more about their new space. Again, like I said, we are cleaning, so watch your step when it comes to mud. There was a lot of mud. Our park services team and our park washdown team have done a killer job making the space really presentable. So enjoy that, I think. I think that's the way I'm gonna say that. Yeah, that works. Yes. So welcome to Palladium. As you can see, a lot of seats. So we're hoping too that our guests coming in that way will be able to get a lay of the land so that they don't feel like they have to rush to get to a seat. There are so many seats in this theater. I've sat about half of them already. There's not a bad view of the stage, I promise. I promise. We'll go up on the stage and say more about some of the tech and production elements that are coming to the concert series. Sometimes people don't fully understand what 13,000 looks like when it comes to actual chairs. So this is 13,000 seats. So we're really excited to welcome our guests in to enjoy the concert series. Like I said, this bottom third, right, is the best way to think about it, will be for those wristbanded guests who get those wristbands at Thrill Zone stage. Then that middle section will be first come, first serve, and then the back third will also be first come, first serve. Cool. So let me tell you about some of the technology that's happening up here. So we will have 2 massive screens on either side of the stage. So again, there will not be a bad seat in this theater, I promise. You might be able to see Leanne Rimes' pores. Like that's really, that's what I'm looking for with the closeness. Our friends from Event Enterprises, one of our production companies we work with, are bringing in a massive rig. So we're really excited to bring the space to life. As you can tell, the Palladium stage itself is a shell, which as a theater person makes me very sad. But there'd be a lot to fill in this space. So we're really excited to use our friends from Event Enterprise to help support that. Our artists are going to set up here. We'll have our sound checks beforehand. We're super excited. And then they're also are some opportunities for Prestige Pass holders, as well as some other Enter to Win contests that we'll be sharing throughout the concert season as well. I can't speak to all of those right now, but I'm excited for you to learn about those when Courtney shares them. So this is the stage. It's massive. I wanted to show you guys something that our merchandise director wanted me to show you because I got in trouble in my office for testing it out. Courtney was on a call the other day, and Vinny, our merchandise director, was like, Ryan, can you make this flash? It reacts to noise. So I walked around our office going, ah! Ah! And Courtney came out and said, Ryan, I'm on a call. And so I screamed one more time for her. So we're really excited to include, this is going to be available at the merchandise stand. It reacts to the music, so that's lots of fun. Lots of other fun glow items, as well as other traditional Carowinds items will be in that merchandise stand. So that is the Palladium. Isn't that exciting? I can turn this. Is this obnoxious yet? No. Ah! I should wear it. No, I should not wear it. I scream like that without the necklace some days, so yeah. Mark from my team is like, that is very true. Yeah. What questions do you have? As a reminder, there will be an FAQ sent out on Monday and available on the website as well. That's going to answer a ton of questions when it comes to our operational opportunities, right? Those time frames will be in that as well for you, so that you have that in writing. Those will make your life a little bit easier. What other questions do you have? Yeah. Inclement weather will be a case-by-case situation, right? So much like how we operate the park, right? There are different mile radiuses based on lightning and thunder and what might be coming our way. We've already talked with our artists as well about those opportunities. Depending on how late the weather rolls in or doesn't roll in, will dictate if maybe the headliner doesn't open, or maybe the headliner only does a 30-minute set instead of a 45-minute set. Those will be on case-by-case situations. All that information will be available on those big jumbo screens as well. We'll make sure that everyone in the audience knows what's going on as well. Yeah. What else? Who else?
So the seats aren't necessarily assigned. Like if they have a certain bracelet, they can come down to section. This is A.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This first section.
Yeah.
And then the section above that is what?
So that's B and C is kind of the, like the other 2/3.
Okay.
The down here with the wristband is reserved for those guests with wristbands, but these are also come as you are, right? First come, first serve down here at the bottom as well. Yeah.
Sorry, so they buy the admissions ticket and then they have to buy an additional ticket for the summer series?
No additional ticket. So yeah, that's the really fun part and really exciting part as park operators too, is that your daily admission gets you into the park and into the concert series. The wristband is a way just to help us manage the crowds a little bit and help figure out how folks use the space, right? As a reminder, for those of you who got to enjoy maybe like a Joy Fest or Christian Music Days, those are the last big concerts we had in this space in 2019 and before that. Those were all ticketed, so you had an assigned seat. So we're using this wristband experience to test the waters and see where we need to make different choices in the future, potentially.
Beyond the concert series, do you still continue to use the space for different events?
We hope to. So the concert series is really going to, we hope, re-energize the space. As you can see, my production team has used this stage for a lot of painting. You can see there's a really fun brown, that's from Beach Blanket Beagle. There's a really nice moss, that's from the walls of the Hollow last year. We've used this space for a lot. This kind of became our production yard, and we also used it for rehearsals. So the hope is that we can see how our guests use the space and what they want in the space, and we can really look at what the future might be. Yeah, our youth sales team utilizes this space. Early May, we had a cheer competition in the space. So we do use the space usually in those private ways currently.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Carowinds. You know something?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Be awesome.
Yes. That's such an exciting idea. I saw you had a question.
Yeah. So these are two random questions.
Yeah.
One, how do people get up into those to handle those lights up at the top?
Careful. So if you look behind you, there's a ladder set that goes up to that landing, another ladder set, and then you have to go walk on the roof, and then there are drop downs from the roof to get into those spotlight areas. It's great. I've done it once, and that's enough for me. It's enough for me. Yeah.
And the next question, would there be a push forward? It's like after wristbands come in, if there's like seats, would you tell people, hey, if you want to come up?
The goal is not to, right? So the hope is that we're using the wristbands to fill this space. We also have there's some other folks in the mix too, right? We are right down the street from a pretty large Cedar Fair home office, and our friends up there really like to see what we do and sit up front with things. So they'll be in the mix as well with some of those experiences. So we plan on not opening the floodgates and letting again, the hope is that folks who want to come to a specific artist are going to make the investment in their time to spend the day in the park and get that wristband early so they have a spot. What else?
How did you implement with the artist selection?
Yeah, so a multitude of things went into that. So I'm gonna tell you all a really fun story that Courtney's not gonna like I'm telling you. We honestly had conversations. We started conversations about this series during the holidays, during Winterfest. All things considered, we were probably months late on that conversation. So we had to do a few things. We had to see who was available. That was the first piece. We had to see who was touring and who was near us or not near us, right? We had to make sure that the blend of artists was correct as well. Like, we wanted to make sure that we were potentially filling, not a void, but seeing compared to who might be stopping at PNC or who might be stopping in Greensboro or Greenville, like who we might be able to engage with. And that's really how we built the list of who was where and what time they were coming to join us.
Realistically, we pulled this together in about 6 months.
Yeah, which is great. Carowinds we are really good at being like, hey, what about this thing? And then 6 months later, we do the thing. For those of you who joined us for State Line Celebration 2022, that was 6 weeks. No big deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun. It's easy. It's easy.
The best.
Yeah. So that's how we looked at that mix. One of the other pieces too that we looked at was some of the demographics based on like what our season pass holders, how our season pass holders read in numbers, if that makes sense. And so that's how we were able to find some right fit folks. Yeah, we're hoping to, right, anyone who joins us for the concert is going to get a survey, just like any visit to our park. And there will be questions about the concert experience. Are there different types of music you might like? Are there specific artists you might like? Is this too early or too late in the summer? All those kinds of questions, which is always really fun. I know sometimes there's a lot of questions on that survey, because I have to read all your answers, so I know there's a lot. But once we get our concert series up and going, it would be great for folks to share what they really are thinking and feeling.
People will probably try to sell those. How are you going to deal with like tampering with those or anything like that?
Yeah, so every day we'll have a different color, which is great. And because I'm who I am as a person, I also made sure that like weekends aren't the same color. So like lime and chartreuse are not on the same weekend. That was a color joke for any color theory nerds. Very niche joke as well. So everyone the guests have to be present to receive their wristbands, and someone from the team will put the wristband on that person.
Will they be scannable wristbands like the fast lanes?
No, they are super generic tie-back wristbands that I bought yesterday. 6 months. Yes. I made really good color choices though, and that's what matters. That's what matters. Yeah.
What are your numbers? Like, what do you base the purchase off of per day?
So down here, this bottom section is about 1,000 and some change guests. So that's what we base that number off of. So again, it's our hope that guests who are super excited about a specific artist will take the time to come to the park early and get those wristbands, starting as soon as the park is open. Those wristbands are available until 4 o'clock or until supplies last. So that'll also help us dictate, honestly, what kind of energy we're going to experience as well. Yeah.
The only exits and entrances over there.
No, so we got this massive exit here, and then once the concert wraps up, we'll exit from there as well.
But like, if those people need to use the bathroom or get a beer, that way?
It'll be that way, yeah, to that main entrance, right? That what we kind of call the main, right in the dead center there. Yeah. Once we're still working on exactly how to communicate what's going to happen. So you guys came through, right? When you exited the park, when you came under that little shack, that's exiting the park officially. So you won't exit the park in the same way, right? So right now you exit the park and then you go to the right a little bit. So we're going to move that exit slightly up so that there's a different flow up there, but we'll have signage and be able to walk through all those pieces. Once we iron all those pieces out as well, to your point, there'll be some opportunities for us to make right fit choices for some of these other exits and entrances. Yeah, so most of our headliners, weather pending, are about a 45-minute set for the opener, more or less. Some are up to an hour, depending on who they are. And then our headliner is about an hour and a half, about 90 minutes. So you really, right, with gates opening at 5, you have about 2 hours to grab a beer, grab a snack. Our hope also is that guests are enjoying their time in the park beforehand. As you heard, the menu inside of the Palladium is not life-altering. She is not festival food in any way, shape, or form, right? So we're really hoping that our guests enjoy the park and the opportunities our food and beverage and culinary team have created there for us. And then when you come in here, it's, again, a drunken waffle fry, a pretzel, and a beer sort of experience. Yeah.
Does the food, what's it called, food pass or food thing, does it transition over?
Unfortunately, no. Our snack and dining plans won't transition into the Palladium. Our beverage programs will, though.
So if you have an all-season.
Yeah, if you've got a...
But once again, we encourage people, you're welcome to go out to the park, come back in.
Yeah. Once you're in, right, sometimes, you know, like if you go to PNC or any other concert venue, like once you're in, you're in. Part of the joy and like beauty of having a concert series in a theme park is there's a theme park. So we're hoping that folks will, these folks up front who really want to be here for these specific artists with those wristbands, you don't show up at 5 o'clock if you have a wristband. Now, if you want to sit up front, you should show up at 5 o'clock. But if you've got a wristband, you have a seat ready for it, right? Yeah, and this whole front section, all the way to where those pink chairs are, that's the dividing line for the wristbands. And then that next section. But again, like I said, there's no bad seats in here, and there's 13,000 of them. So there will be a lot of folks able to enjoy all of it. One of the things too, right, we did talk about what kinds of things do we need to put in this space to make it better. What we're hoping is that we can learn what our guests need this year and use that for future planning purposes. Because some of the things that this space needs are significant. And so if our concert series program needs to shift in some way, shape, or form next year, we want to make sure that we're making the right choices for that as well.
So I know you say you can come in early. How are you guys going to combat holding seats?
Yeah, so again, we're part of the magic that we're all going to learn together is what that looks like. So our ushers and our safety and security team are going to make sure that folks are not holding huge rows, right? But if a mom is holding a seat because her 2 kids went to the restroom, that's totally okay, right? But we're going to that's going to be a case-by-case situation.
And also those that help the wristbands is you have to be present to pick up a wristband and everybody in your party. So that's
what I mean. So like say I get my wristband, I come here at 5 o'clock, put my stuff down, and they go back in the park, and they come back at 7:30.
Yeah, that would be a no-go.
Yeah. Seat saving like that is something we're going to work on not allowing, right? But again, if there's, my kids are on Fury and I want to sit down, we'll work through some of those pieces. But
before we leave out, I want to give you a shot of what it looks like for the performers up here on the stage in front of 13,000 screaming fans. I will be filling these seats. They're not screaming right now, well, because I'm here. Nobody wants to see me. But anyhow, this is what it looks like up on the stage. But speaking of the stage, give you a really close-up look at what the artists are performing in and under here before setting up or during the performance or whatever. This is what the stage looks like when not in use. And so how cool is that? I'm on the stage here at the Palladium. I mean, look at all my fans back here. Look at all the people cheering for me. There's nobody back there. But anyhow, I've never been up here before. It's kind of intimidating to think all these seats could be full and you could be standing in front of these people. But anyhow, it's going to be an amazing concert series. It really is. And while we're right here on the front row, here's how close you would be to your artists. And Ryan, there's Ryan. Hey, Ryan, showing them what it's like front row.
There it is, you nailed it.
There it is. So yeah, you can get this close to your favorite artists this summer. And just to give you an idea and the dates of what artists will be here for the Summer Music Fest, they have them all lined up right here for us. A lot of big names on that list up there. So that's going to wrap it up for this little short behind the scenes look at the Brad Ross show, all the different things, and the concert series. A lot of good info about that also. So it's going to be a great summer here at Carowinds. You got the magic show with Brad Ross. You got this concert series going on. A lot of great things going on here at Carowinds, and it's going to be a long summer. A long, fun summer here at Carowinds. So with that, we got to head out of the park because the park is closed. It's time to go home. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you ever see us around the park, be sure to stop and say, hey, we love meeting new people. With that, we're headed out here, and thank you for hanging with the Crazy Crew.